Hello, YouTube. Sorry if there's a lot of noise. I got the heater full force. It's cold outside. Driving. I like to make videos when I'm driving because, that's when I get my creative mental juices going. Anyways, I'd like to talk about marriage and divorce. And I've never been through any of the two. But I do want to provide my outside point of view, right? I think both marriage and divorce are two traps, right? So there's a couple reasons why I say that. And this subject, this encompasses so many different things. These two subjects. It's a very complicated matter. If you take a look at the birth rates here in the U.S., they're declining, and they've been declining for many years. And the only reason that the population is increasing in the U.S. is because of immigration. That's it. So something's wrong, obviously, right? We have to admit it, right? Something is wrong. And what is that something, right? That's the question that people should be asking. When Elon Musk talks about population collapse, that's a real risk instead of overpopulation. Well, obviously he knows more than all of us because he's connected to all the billionaires up there, and he has a bunch of information that us regular people don't, right? So going back to the subject, marriage and divorce, it's a bad deal for men in this country, in the US, right? You get married, you lose your rights, right? You can have whatever you have, right? Your bank account gets combined, your credit gets combined, your debt, if you have any vehicles, that gets combined, your house, mortgage, everything, it gets combined, right? So if you as a man brought stuff before the marriage, right, and you didn't sign a prenup, well, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? That's number one. So on the flip side, once you get married, you pretty much have to do what your wife tells you, because if she can take away half your stuff, then she basically has a guillotine, right, on you the whole time. And I don't think I would want to feel that way ever, right? If I ever get into a relationship or whatever, right? It just doesn't make any sense. Because you have to hush up and do what the female tells you to do, and if you don't, then she'll divorce and take the prizes, all the gifts and prizes and money. It's a lottery. Well, it's not even a lottery; it's guaranteed. 50%. So it's a good deal for women, right? Not only that, if you get married for more than 7 years, you have to pay alimony. If you have kids, you have to pay child support. So okay, so that's marriage. And then once you get divorced, then all that stuff takes place. So that's another trap as well. Not only do you have to pay all that stuff, but you have to pay for legal fees. It don't make no sense, right? This term, they say happy wife, happy life. I don't know if that came first, if that term came first, or if the laws that we have in place now came first as to giving women so much power in a marriage, right? You have to think about that. Like, why did that term come up, and when did that come up, right? So it's just not even, it doesn't make any sense to me. And not only that, you know, if you believe in the Bible, the Bible doesn't even like approve of that. Approve of when in our country they say that people should be equal in a marriage. Well, the Bible doesn't even approve of that. It says that men should love their wives, and wives should respect their husbands. I forget I forget where that's at in the Bible. I believe that's what it says. But yeah, I mean, having the man be the head of the household doesn't mean the man has to be abusive. Not at all. It just means that he makes the decisions, right? He's the decision maker. And to me personally, that makes more sense, because women are irrational by nature. They're emotional, right? Men are rational more than being emotional. So it makes more sense for things to work that way, right? And then when it comes to caring for the kids, well, to me it makes sense for the female to take care of the kids, right? They can both take care of the kids, but you know what makes the most sense to me is that. But anyways, to each their own. Everyone can live however they want, right? I'm just pointing out some things that I see, and these subjects should not be ignored. I believe in part this is why Andrew Tate, for example, became so popular in 2022. He was exposing. One second, my camera is kind of blurry. He was exposing many of these subjects, and he became super popular. And then he got censored, and now he's arrested. And anyways, so yeah, it's I don't think this country is going in the right direction. And to change this subject a bit further, if you take a look at the Democratic liberal agenda, those people got no breaks. Like, they are full on anarchy. Like, they just keep pushing the envelope. They just keep going on and on and on and on. Like, if you want to identify as a giraffe, you can identify as a giraffe basically nowadays. You want to identify as whatever you want, and they keep pushing these weird laws. Just a bunch of weirdos, honestly. You can identify as whatever you want. I mean, it's retarded. It's getting retarded, to be honest. And they keep pushing for these, and it's just a mental disease. It just doesn't end. It just gets worse and worse and worse. Like, where are they gonna end? They just keep going further and further down the hole, and and all of that affects society. All of that affects the family unit, the marriages, and so on. It's just I don't want to say the word, but it's a cluster mess, basically, what we see in this country. Children should have both parents. Like, that's a necessary thing. If you look at the statistics on children raised without their fathers, children raised without their fathers are more likely to commit crime and end up in jail. That's a fact. Just look it up. Look it up on Google. Search fatherless children crime statistics, or some similar term. It's gonna open your eyes. It's so the fact that courts incentivize women to get out of marriage creates criminals, basically. Because if you allow women to, so marriage is basically two people signing a government contract, and if the woman decides to, for whatever reason, break that contract, then she gets all the cash and prizes. She gets to keep the kids, gets the alimony and child support, right? And then the kids get raised without their father, and that makes them prone to anxiety, depression, and a bunch of other stuff, maybe even ADHD or whatever. And according to the statistics, they become more prone to become criminals in the future. So it's pretty sad. It's really sad, the whole situation. I don't know, I just wanted to create this video. I think it's necessary to talk about these subjects. This is something that, it's like a big elephant in the room, and nobody wants to talk about it. But as marriages get destroyed in this country, the whole society goes with it. The whole society goes under. And I believe there should be laws in place where the man should be the decision maker of the house, but on the flip side, it cannot be an abusive relationship, because that's not how it should be, obviously, you know. So I do believe what the Bible states, that men should be the head of the household. But obviously, you know, keep the laws we have in place in regards to abuse, to avoid abuse, right? Because men should love their wives, and women should respect their husbands, right? That's how it should be. And we just have it backwards in this country, in the U.S. I just don't see it working long term. And this video might sound controversial to some, but just look at the statistics. Don't even listen to this video. Just look at the statistics of what I'm talking about. I believe it's over 60% or about 75% of divorces are initiated by women. So it's an incentive thing there. And I believe it's 50% of divorces happen due to financial issues, and that's a whole nother subject as well. Because in our society, we tend to focus so much on money. We tend to value money so much, physical objects, items, garbage. You can't take it. You can't take anything to the grave. You can't take money, possessions, vehicles. You can't take any of that crap, right? But we value those things so much over everything else, over character, over personality, over personality traits and whatnot, right? Respect and whatnot. So it's just backward there, This country values money so much. It's obsessive. It's sickening. And then that gets brought to the home, and females, I guess, get pushed to look for a man that earns X amount of money, but they don't focus on personality traits, which is more important when you consider, or when you take into consideration, how long you want your marriage to last, or if you want a lifelong relationship. You don't focus on how much he has. That's ridiculous, right? You got to focus on the person, on the man. Is he a hard worker? Is he gonna provide, respect you, love you? Is he honest with others, right? Does he have goals? Is he smart? And same with women. Like, if you're a male and you're watching this video, well, you can't just focus on the physical, right? There's other traits far more important than the physical. Does she smile? Does she make you laugh? Does she respect you? Does she love you? Does she listen to you? Does she become argumentative, or like to shout, or make fights for anything? Like, there's a bunch of more things more important than the physical aspect, right? Like, it's not worth finding a 10 if she's gonna have a bitchy attitude, or causing problems 24/7, right? I just think society should reevaluate how they view others, and where they want to be in life, right? Because I just don't think the U.S. in general has this right. And I know I'm talking about a lot of subjects. This goes on even deeper than what we're talking about, right? Because when women look for a quote-unquote provider, or a man that makes X amount of money or whatever, in a sense, it makes sense, right? Okay, because if you look at rents, they go up 10-15% per year, 20%, and there's a lot of people renting in this country, so you gotta have money, right? And then you also have a shortage of workers, of technical workers, right? And that shortage is going to get even worse because baby boomers are retiring. So home building is going to get more expensive, and it's going to become more unaffordable to the average Joe, right? And then you also have automation, artificial intelligence, robotics coming into play, and remote work, where companies are now not only outsourcing within the US to areas that have lower salaries, right? To cities where they can pay lower salaries for the same services by phone remotely. But they're now outsourcing services to other countries, right? Not just production, which this country has done to China and India, right? We've exported production to those countries where we can produce products for cheap prices. But now services as well. So it's a cluster mess, to be honest. It's a really, really big mess. So in a sense, it does make sense. When a female looks for a provider, well, you know, in a certain sense, it makes sense. I get that part, okay? Because if you have kids with the guy, right, and you got to take care of the kids, then you want to make sure he provides, right? So it's gonna get hairy. It's gonna get messy. It's gonna over the coming years, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, it's gonna become even more difficult in the economy, right? But like I said, women shouldn't focus strictly on the financial side. It's not, that's not what composes a relationship between a man and a woman. It's not money, right? It's part of it, sure, but it's not all. There's far more important things to the whole situation, right? Anyways, I just wanted to put these subjects out. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe, watch my other videos. Have a good night.